I'm sorry I'm so behind. It's just been really busy with all the things that have been going down, with all the code words that have been thrown out about Halloween Horror Nights this past week and this past weekend. I haven't been able to really do a recap. I did Raw, obviously, last night, but I am not able to do NXT and Smackdown apart like I did last week. I'm actually going to do them right now. So yeah, last week's NXT and last week's Smackdown. So yeah, I know what you're thinking. Oh, and you're a week behind. And I was like, yeah, I am, but I mean, I'll do the best I can to talk about this. So let's start off with NXT, and this was very interesting of a show. It was very centered around the divas of NXT. And we started off the show with a match featuring the NXT Women's Champion Paige against 1/3 of the BFFs, Sasha Banks. Sasha, of course, coming to the ring by Charlotte and Summer on a steak. So we go midway through the match, and Sasha's got a straight jacket chin lock applied. Paige backs her in the corner and hits the Matt Morgan left and right elbows. Short arm clothesline, and then another one, and then third time's a charm. Drop kick, locks her in the Scorpion cross lock, and that's all she wrote. The match is over. Charlotte attacks Paige until Natalya runs out for the save. So basically what we're leading towards right now is Natalya and Paige against the BFFs. And I think that's going to be an interesting program to go into. I think that I would have put Emma in this, but I think I'm going to put Bayley in this because Emma's busy on SmackDown right now. Obviously, Summer Rae is too. So I think what we're leading towards is the BFFs versus Paige, Bayley, and Natalya. I think that match is going to happen sooner rather than later. I think it's the right direction to go, really putting a lot of emphasis on how important the NXT Women's Championship really is, and the fact that Charlotte is gunning for Paige right now, and it's interesting to see that she's being booked so well as a challenger. So Sami Zayn, after last week's tremendously awesome match against Corey Graves, was interviewed in the back, and basically he says he never had an issue with Corey Graves, and as far as he's concerned, any issue is all said and done. Well, if he's not satisfied, then he's not a hard man to find. And then we find some more from Mojo Rawley, and he is still hyped from NXT Arrival. And yeah, that's pretty much all I want to say about Mojo Rawley. Still not sold on him yet. Then we get another match featuring the NXT Tag Team Champions, Connor and Victor, the Ascension, taking on the Jobber du Jour tag team this week, being Travis Tyler and Cal Bishop. This match is very short, like all Ascension squashes really are. Bishop gets nailed with the STO by Victor tagging to Connor, and he quickly tags Tyler. Basically, Bishop's like getting out, tags Tyler. He gets tossed over the rope, and the charging avalanche in the corner tagging to Victor. Victor quickly tags back into Connor, whip in, and a guillotine knee, a knee strike off the top from Victor. Really nice maneuver there, nice double team, and tags Connor. Drop kicks Cal Bishop for good measure, and fall of man on Travis Tyler. That's all she wrote once again. So yeah, still no real competition for the Ascension yet. And I don't know what they're going to do with them. Ascension are, in essence, at least in NXT, they're faces. So I don't know who's going to come down and challenge them. I think, honestly, I would send Three-Man Band down to work with the Ascension in NXT. Because everything I've mentioned previously, those teams got split up, and you can't send the Usos now because they're tag team champions. So what do you do now? There's two options. If you're going to make them baby faces, and they pretty much are, like all the fans are chanting "yah, yah, yah" for the Ascension, I would say that your best bet is to probably, as soon as possible, send Three-Man Band down, or even Ryback and Curtis Axel. You can send them down to work with the Ascension. That'd be interesting. And if it's not going to go that direction, you can always send Harper and Rowan down to work with the Ascension. That'd be interesting. Because obviously, those teams have never really clashed before, and it'd be really interesting to see that happen. Actually, I'll call it right now. I want to see the Ascension against Harper and Rowan. Rowan and Harper obviously want to stake claim to being the most dominant tag team in the history of NXT, and the Ascension are the current reigning tag team champions, so in order to prove themselves, they have to face off against Harper and Rowan. I think that's a great idea, and I think that needs to happen. So the Ascension need to be facing off with three-man band just to start everything off. Ryback and Curtis Axel, as well as working with Eric Rowan and Luke Harper. So I think that's the right direction to go. Our next match features Mason Ryan taking on Wesley Blake. Wesley Blake actually showed some stuff in this match, not bad. So there's a club to the back and a knee, right hand in the corner, and Blake catches him out of the corner with a back elbow. And a big right hand, hits a nice European uppercut, and leaps off the ropes with a crossbody, gets caught, and power slam by Mason Ryan, a headbutt, and charging shoulder into the corner, whip in, reverse, and reverse back again to the buckle, and Mason Ryan goes shoulder first into the ring post. So, 3 short arm shoulders, and flying armbar, 1-2, and a kick out. Elbow to the back of the neck, and an arm wringer into a tight armbar, and nice flip-out counter from Mason Ryan. 2 big overhand rights, and over the shoulder, drops him throat first against the top rope, and walks right into a big boot, picks him up. There's the Cobra Clutch Slam in 1-2-3. Just a showcase of Mason Ryan's strength, basically, is what it was. It was okay, actually. Wesley Blake's not bad, so interesting to see if they do anything with him. It was okay for what it was. It wasn't offensive, and it didn't insult my intelligence that this match was on here. So yeah, it was alright. I could see a lot worse matches from Mason Ryan. I have. His Nexus days will tell you that. So, remember I talked about earlier how Bayley is going to get inserted into this program against the BFFs instead of Emma? This is the reason why. Bayley's watching the WWE Network, and she's wearing a Pokemon hoodie, by the way. So the BFFs show up with Summer Rae on a stick, and Bayley talks to Summer on a stick. Basically, she says that the reason she's not there is because the other BFFs smell like cheese, and nice Halloween Horror Night shout out right there, by the way. And if Sasha would get in the ring with Bayley, she would lose. So Natalya shows up because the bullying will not stop, and basically Charlotte introduces her to the Divas champion from 100 years ago. So of course there's a history lesson involving Natalya bringing up her uncle Bret the Hitman Hart and the fact that he won the WWF World Heavyweight Championship from the Nature Boy Ric Flair and thus forced him basically to leave the company. Not exactly true, but still, it works for revisionist history. So there is the heat between Bret the Hitman Hart and the Nature Boy Ric Flair, and it's now on the next generation, which in this case is Natalya and Charlotte. So I'm interested in this. I'm very interested in this. It actually might work really well. So kudos for them doing this angle. So, of course, during NXT Arrival, Xavier Woods and Tyler Breeze were supposed to have a match. Alexander Rusev came out, Rusev crush, and no match. Well, given the fact that Xavier Woods is Consequences Creed, he was talking about being Apollo Creed in this case, and knocking out Ivan Drago, which is, of course, Rusev. I find this hilarious. So before this match starts, Tyler Breeze comes out. He says, "Hello, Woods. You know, you and I aren't friends, but after NXT Arrival, when Rusev put his hands on my gorgeous face," with the fans chanting "not the face," which was hilarious, "please let me get my revenge and just kindly leave." So Lana comes out, brings out Rusev. Woods gets attacked from behind from Tyler Breeze, and then Tyler just powders. So we go to the match, and basically Woods has no chance in this point because, of course, he just got bum rushed by Tyler Breeze before the match starts. Muay Thai kicks and a short arm kick, rain down elbows to the chest 2 separate times, Knee strikes in the corner, and he goes for the Muay Thai kick again. It gets blocked. And Woods starts throwing forearms and kicks, trying to knock Rusev off balance. And he ducks his head down and he gets kicked in the chest. He charges in, ducks the clothesline, and hits a modified Samoan drop, which didn't really work very well. But kudos to the new NXT commentator, the former Tensai, Jason Albert, who basically says he didn't really get enough of that, but maybe it was enough there. Then hit a swinging black hole slam and locked on the Accolade, and Woods tapped out immediately. Lana's the only one that could stop Rusev. Lana says stop, so Rusev stops. We get Adrian Neville in the back basically cutting a promo, and he gets interrupted by Bo Dallas. Bo Dallas basically says that his Bo Leavers are sick and tired of your face, of your ears, of your flips. You're out of my league. Neville slaps him in the face. We have a stare down. So in 2 weeks from this broadcast I'm talking about, which is a week ago, so next week, not the show that is going to be talked about next week, the one that actually airs tomorrow. No, the NXT broadcast that is actually going to air on March 27th, the last week of the month, is going to be the big rematch between Adrian Neville putting the NXT Championship on the line against Bo Dallas. So I'm looking forward to that. It should be pretty good. So we get our main event, and our main event is Bo Dallas in action against Big Cass, Colin Cassidy. And you know what? I wasn't sure about Cassidy when he was basically just a lackey for Enzo Amore, but the stuff with Aiden English, they really have him a nice personality, to be totally honest. And I like what they're doing with him. They're making him believable in the ring. He's got personality. He can work. And I think there's something to be done with him in the near future. Now, why he didn't work with Zack Ryder, I have no idea. I would say right now that Cassidy would probably be the person that's going to give Rusev the battle before he goes to WWE. I think that's probably the right direction to go. So, we go midway through the match. And Dallas with a forearm, an elbow to the neck, whip in to a nice tight back elbow, 1-2, and Big Cass kicks out. A cravat is applied and actually pins the shoulders to the canvas of Colin Cassidy for a 2 count. He goes back to the cravat again, and Cassidy punches his way out, pushes him into the ropes, and a nice knee, but gets caught with a rebound lariat from Bo Dallas, 1-2, and a kick out. Leaping knee drop, and the mounted forearms, just like his brother. And 1-2, Big Cass kicks out. Short arm elbow 3 times, and the 4th time lays him out with a short arm clothesline. 1-2 and a kick out. Big forearm in the corner, whip in reverse. High velocity whip by Colin Cassidy. 3 big right hands, tosses Bo Dallas to the ropes, hits the high knee, and the SAWFT soft club to the back, 1-2, and Bo Dallas kicks out. He goes for the scoop slam. Bo Dallas elbows his way out and gets caught with a huge big boot. So Bo's on the ring apron, he's laying underneath the bottom rope, and he goes to drag him back in. Bo Dallas has the presence of mind to pull him chest and throat first into the ring rope, which distracts him long enough, throws him off, and he boots him in the side of the head and nails him with a double arm DDT, and that's the end. Bo Dallas wins. So, not as a strong NXT as normal. I will say that the Ascension really need to have some competition. You can't really have squash matches every week. I like what they're doing with Sami Zayn and Corey Graves. I think that's going to be an awesome feud that's going to lead into this season of NXT. I love what they're doing with the Divas division in NXT because all of them can work and that's awesome. So I think that's going to be awesome. Like I said, I'm not sold on Mojo Rawley. I'm probably not going to be for a while. I would say that Tyler Breeze and Xavier Woods are going to have a match sooner rather than later because obviously Breeze is the reason that Rusev beat Xavier Woods so decisively. And Bo Dallas needed to get a big win, and he did in a really nice back-and-forth match with Colin Cassidy. So, That was NXT from a week ago. Sorry. And it's funny because we're getting ready to talk Smackdown. And I watched main event, actually. Well, I watched a main event match. I watched this match, this version of on main event. And, you know, the match that I watched on main event between these two teams was a lot better than the match I'm actually about to talk about. So if you get a chance to check out main event this week, do yourself a favor and watch the Real Americans against the Brotherhood. This match is awesome. All the normal high spots and really enjoyable finish where the Brotherhood actually went over. But let's talk about last week and their match from last week, which kicked off the show. Now, right before I started recapping, I saw an awesome spot that I had to mention. So Cody with a pescado, he gets caught in a tilt-a-whirl slam on the ring apron, mind you, by Cesaro. And then he hits a slingshot double stomp, and that's right before the break. So we come back to live action. A double whip, a double back elbow from the Real Americans. 1-2, Cody kicks out, chinlock, and a big takedown by Cesaro. Turned to the Swiss sleeper, and Cody punches his way out. Tagging to Swagger, and Cody fights his way out of the corner until Swagger goes for the bear hug. Cody goes old school and rings his bell. Big clothesline on Cody, 1-2, and a kick out. He drags him to the corner and tags Cesaro. Cesaro quickly tags Swagger back into the ring, and again Cody punches his way out of the corner. Tagging to Cesaro, double whip and double kick. Backdrop, Swagger to the floor. Double leg, goes for the Cesaro swing, gets 8 rotations on it. Tagging to Swagger, goes for the Swagger bomb. He gets the boots up, does Cody. Whip in and a sunset. Tagging to Cesaro. Cesaro stomps away. Swagger tags himself in. Ascension. Snap suplex, and Cesaro tags himself back in. Turnabout is fair play. Hanging vertical suplex, and Swagger again tags himself back in. Goldust tag is stopped this time, and Swagger smartly knocks Goldust off the ring apron. Cody with a flapjack on Swagger, and Cody backslide Swagger, 1-2-3, and the Brotherhood win this match, which I much rather talk about the match on main event, so check that out if you get a chance to. Cesaro tosses Goldust into the barricade, and there's the big takedown on Cody in the ring. They double toss Cody shoulder first into the ring post 2 separate times, playing up the fact that Cody's got an injured shoulder. And the Usos run out and the Real Americans powder. So we're building up towards an obviosity here of the Usos and the Real Americans, which happened on Raw. So I already talked about that this week. I think that's probably going to be your WrestleMania tag team title match, with the final split between Cesaro and Swagger coming after they are unsuccessful in unseating Jimmy and Jey Uso. So we start the show off with Triple H coming out. The feed I watch starts with like a match that's like 3 down on the card, and then it shows the regular matches. So yay, Sky Sports, not knowing. So Triple H comes out, he says, "I'm happy you had your moment of sun on Monday night." And I'm talking last Monday night, not the Monday night I talked about yesterday. "But because of you, Daniel Bryan is not here tonight." And it would have made more sense if I was talking about this, given what happened to Daniel Bryan on this week's Raw, that you can catch on my Raw playlist on Pup. I'll deal with him on Raw, which he did, and then I'll end him at WrestleMania. So you were happy to trade in your happy tomorrows for Raw, so now I will end the Yes Movement once and for all. You know, it could have continued. I've been protecting Daniel Bryan ever since SummerSlam for all of you, just to give you some hope, just to let you have that dream. Daniel Bryan is like a lot of you. You hope the underdog will succeed. But the fact of the matter is, reality is set in and Daniel Bryan is just not good enough to succeed. At WrestleMania, I will crush your hopes and dreams. I put an end to Bryan. There's no pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, no fairy tale, or happily ever after. At WrestleMania, I put an end to your dreams, and I bury Daniel Bryan. So Damian Sandow comes out. He basically is being told to apologize for not getting involved with the match that he was supposed to have 2 weeks ago on Raw, which is what I'm going to talk about from that perspective. Sandow basically apologizes. Triple H says, "Okay, fine, good enough, but you know what? Here's a match." He faces off against Seth Rollins of the Shield. This match was pretty good. short, really short. Rollins babyfaced it up like hardcore. This is even before what happened on Raw last night. So, whip in, he puts on the brakes, a back elbow, and a backdrop to the apron. A boot to the knee knocks Rollins off the apron, stomps away in the corner, he pulls him back in. The hard way, he brings him back in. He does a complete flip, lands on his feet, and he hits the flatliner to the middle turnbuckle. Then nails the leaping kick, charging with a forearm in the corner, and a drop kick. Springboard, lands on his feet, and Sandow goes to the floor. He's in between a rock and a hard place, literally. He's between Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose. And Rollins nails him with a tope, sends him to the barricade, tosses him back in, hits the blackout, 1, 2, 3. So, Ambrose will not put his fist out, and Sandow is trying to get up the ramp because he's out of it. And what happens? They bum rush Sandow, toss him in the ring, they stomp him down, they triple powerbomb him, and the Shield is united. United towards a common goal. Now, this was a week ago, obviously, and the match is the Intercontinental Champion Big E against Fandango. And this is when everybody was starting to get put in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. So, they were talking about this a lot during the show, and of course we still have 2 weeks before everybody is completely announced, if they announce everybody by now. There's 20 people announced, and I'll mention that at the end of the video. So, Fandango with a European uppercut, knee strike, knee drop, and the club to the chest, comes off the ropes, and Big E's comeback. Clothesline, ducks Fandango's clothesline, and a belly-to-belly suplex, hits the Warrior-style big splash. Fandango stops momentum with a boot to the knee, and he goes for a tornado DDT, and he gets tossed off, ducks the clothesline, Vader attack, drop the straps, big ending, you know how we do. Big E wins again. Short match. So, if you saw the match on Raw last night, you'll understand that it wasn't as competitive as the match on Smackdown was. It is Bray Wyatt against Kofi Kingston. A big uppercut. And he tossed him to the mat. Basically, he tried to toss him underneath the bottom rope, and it didn't work. He just tossed him to the mat. So, hits the big right hand in the corner, whip in. He misses the charge, and springboard clothesline by Kofi, 1, 2, and a kick out. Charges in, goes for a monkey flip, and he puts him on the ropes. This is what Bray does. He stops the monkey flip, he puts him on the ropes, and he just shoves him over the top rope to the floor with his neck and his upper back hitting the ring apron, which, for any of you that have ever been inside a wrestling ring, or for any of you that have never been inside a wrestling ring, I can tell you from experience that the ring apron of a wrestling ring is one of the hardest parts in the entire ring. And if you hit the mat, that's one thing. You hit the buckle, that's one thing. You hit the ropes, that's one thing. But if you hit that ring apron, that thing has zero give whatsoever. And I have been bumped on that thing before, and I know how it feels. And obviously, I feel Kofi Kingston's pain on this. So, they get back into the ring after the toss-in, and leaping back senton, the chin lock, and Kofi breaks out with a jawbreaker. Drop kick, charges with a splash, and then he hits it again, and whip in reverse, charges in, he gets the boots up, and he goes off the middle rope, gets caught, Uranagi by Bray Wyatt, and he drags him to the corner. The Avalanche, Sister Abigail, and that's it. So Bray Wyatt wins. Obviously needs to look strong for the match at WrestleMania coming up against John Cena. It was okay for what it was, nothing to write home about. Speaking of nothing to write home about, another match is Tamina Snuka against Nikki Bella. And my paper is starting to fall, so I'm going to go for it. Midway through the match, she's towards the end actually, Tamina goes for the Superfly Splash. She misses. Clothesline by Nikki. Drop kick. Back body drop. Barely. Hits the chin breaker. And then an elbow. Tamina with a super kick. 1, 2, and a kick out. Brie attacks AJ, who's at ringside, and she gets tossed in the barricade by Tamina. And Tamina gets into the ring. She gets hooked up into the rack attack. 1, 2, 3. It was a match. So we get our next match. Really good match, actually. Dolph Ziggler taking on Alberto Del Rio. We go midway through the match. ducks the clothesline and a high cross body off the ropes on Del Rio and leap to the 10 punch and a reverse neck breaker 1-2 and there's a kick out. So he goes for the zigzag, he gets swatted off by Del Rio, gets caught with a tilt-a-whirl backbreaker 1-2 and a kick out, goes for the GSK that won the World Heavyweight Championship, and Dolph ducks out of the way, nails him with the exclamation point DDT 1-2 and a kick out. So when Dolph tries to take advantage again, Del Rio nails him with the divorce court and nails the GSK 1-2. Dolph kicks out. He goes for the cross arm breaker, gets countered, ducked down, step up enziguri kick, and that's missed. So Dolph runs off the ropes and nails the name dropper 1-2 and a kick out, goes up top, gets crotched, and that's backwards, mind you. He climbs up going for the inverted superplex. He connects 1-2 and a kick out. And he goes for the cross arm breaker again, pushes him off right in the zigzag, 1-2-3, and Dolph Ziggler is on a winning streak, folks. So we get our next inductee in the 2014 WWE Hall of Fame, which is Carlos Colon, which is really rather interesting. He will most likely be inducted by his sons, which you guys would probably know is Los Matadores and Carlito. So yeah, that's going to be interesting to see what happens there. The main event was Kane and the Big Show. It was a match. Earlier on in the show, Kane wanted the Shield's help and basically told them to be at ringside, and Shield like, we don't work for you. And Kane's like, you know what, I'm authority here, so okay, fine, whatever, we'll go to the ringside area. So they watched this match from ringside. Kane told the Shield to help, and they get ready to get in the ring, and Kane berates them a little bit more, and they're like, forget you. They drop off the ring apron, and Kane walks into the choke slam, and that's all for that match. And of course, Kane goozles Rollins, gets speared by Roman Reigns, and the Shield stand tall over Kane, which they did in greatness on Monday night. Yeah, I know we're a week behind, but kind of a lackluster show. I say right now, if you got a chance to check out anything from SmackDown last week, if you haven't yet, Real Americans and Brotherhood, those teams are awesome together, so check that out. Actually, Seth Rollins and Damian Sandow wasn't bad. It should have been a little bit longer, maybe about 3 to 5 more minutes to develop a little bit. I understand it was basically a punishment for Sandow, and he did get some stuff in, but I'd like to see a more competitive match between the two, because I think they both can definitely go. I will say that Dolph and Del Rio was good, and yeah, that's pretty much it. That's all I'm going to recommend for this show. So yeah, you're getting a recap. It's going to be over in less than 30 minutes at this point. Oh, real quick, I will mention right now, this is a spoiler for SmackDown that's coming up in a couple days, but I will say right now, there are officially 20 names announced for the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, and a lot of the names were announced in the ones I already know about, and there's a lot of names that are announced on SmackDown this week. So I'll say right now that the names involved in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal for 2014 at WrestleMania 30 are currently as followed. We have the Intercontinental Champion Big E. You have the Nexus Relocation Program of Curtis Axel and Ryback. You have Fandango. You have the Show-Off Dolph Ziggler. You have Sheamus, Titus O'Neil, Alberto Del Rio, Damian Sandow, Christian, The Big Show, Mark Henry, Heath Slater, Jinder Mahal, and Drew McIntyre, a 3-man band. They get in tonight. Actually, not tonight, but they get in Friday night on SmackDown. And also announced for Friday on SmackDown, the Brotherhood, Goldust and Cody Rhodes, as well as Kofi Kingston, The Miz, and just announced Rey Mysterio Jr. So, 10 names to be put into the Battle Royal. And also, it seems to me that we are going to be getting either a surprise or we're going to be getting something just rather obvious, because as of what happens on SmackDown this coming Friday, the Real Americans and Ryback and Curtis Axel, they already have tag team title shots. I think Ryback and Curtis Axel have their match, I would say, this Monday night on Raw, or this next Friday night on SmackDown. I will say right now, without thinking about it, that the Real Americans are going to be facing Jimmy and Jey Uso at WrestleMania 30, and that's probably the right direction to go. So yeah, it was okay for what it was. Sorry it took so long. I'll try not to be so long next time. Wrestling fans will join us for SmackDown, NXT, and Raw next week, and we are continuing the road to WrestleMania. And Impact fans, I got Impact for you from last week. It's coming to you tomorrow. And Impact from this week, as soon as I can. So that's coming up. So in the meantime, if you like these videos, tell your friends about them, leave a comment, do subscribe, and help spread the word about Pop. Like our Facebook fan page, Sir Owen Disney Pop. Friend me on Facebook, Owen Disney, and like me enough to follow me on Twitter. It's Sir Owen Disney. Very simple, very easy to find. Last but certainly not least, I want to send your thoughts, comments, queries, and opinions about things you would like to see happen at WrestleMania this year. Thoughts you have for the WWE Network or about the WWE Network or anything in between. You want to talk anything with me, you're more than welcome to send me an email, sirowendisney@gmail.com. In the meantime, thank you guys and girls out there for watching. Sorry it was so late, and until tomorrow, boys and girls, that's all I got to say about that.